All right, so with the win today, it's officially hate week. It is officially the team up north week. So Ohio State, they do exactly what I thought they were gonna do. They come out and they completely dominate Rutgers, both in the on the air and Max Clare really through the air and on the ground too, which was really good. But like I said before, Rutgers is the worst rushing defense, if not the worst defense in the Big Ten. So not a whole lot to really hang your hat on if you're Ohio State here. Definitely not a good, not like a game that we're expected. We become accustomed to for Julian Sane because he didn't have Jeremiah Smith and because he didn't have Cornell Tate today. So this was just a lot of getting ready for the game up in Ann Arbor this year. Which just makes sense. But Ohio State even last year was really good at pacing themselves in the regular season. So this is not out of the ordinary for Ryan Day and his staff. Like I said in the halftime video, the reason for Ohio State's running game right now is because of Justin Fry and his quite frankly inability to field an elite offensive line. It really started in 2022. Ohio State still had an elite offensive line in 21 and 22, but it wasn't what it was, in like let's say 2019. And in 2023 it really took a nosedive, but that was also the style of Kyle McCord. He wasn't a quarterback that could really run at all. It was almost like he had cinder blocks his feet. And he didn't work out at Ohio State, which is another, like, that's a whole other thing. Like, we got to think because we had CJ Stroud and Justin Fields, we really didn't need offensive linemen that could, protect for that long because we had quarterbacks that were able to escape from the pocket and make plays like that and improvise. Kyle McCord is a quarterback that has to have a read, and if that read's not open, it's not going to be a successful play. He's not a very good improviser with stuff. So, and then we got Will Howard, which definitely, and the offensive line was not great last year, but it was masked because of what Will Howard was able to do with his legs. And it also, with running plays, with Will Howard being a threat to run the ball, that also took a lot of, like the read options, that took a lot of the pressure off of the running backs because Will Howard was always the threat to keep the ball and run. And you kind of get that a little bit with Julian Sane. You definitely got that in this game with Keenholz today. He had a few chunk plays on the ground. He did fumble the ball. It was down. He was down, but it comes with that. I think he's a junior or a senior this year now, if I'm doing the math right. But good game for him if this is his last home game here at Ohio State. I'm glad that he was able to get out there and play a decent amount on a senior day on the last home game of the season. Most likely, if Ohio State's like beats or loses to Michigan, and then somehow still ends up in the Big Ten championship game and then loses to Indiana, Ohio State will probably be getting a home game there. But that is a very, very small chance. Ohio State would have to have everyone that's basically behind them and Michigan to lose. They would have to have Michigan lose tonight or coming up next year. Really, the game is at 4. They would have to have Michigan lose today, and then Oregon and I think it's just Oregon. I think it's just Oregon and USC would have to lose another one too. So even though I think USC is already eliminated, but you get what I mean. So Indiana would have to win out. Oregon and Michigan, from my knowledge, would have to lose another Big Ten champion or a Big Ten conference game for Ohio State to be able to lose against Michigan and then lose against Indiana. And that would basically have Ohio State not getting a bye and getting another home game in the playoff. That would be the only possibility that Ohio State gets another home game this year. So yeah, very unlikely that happens, but we will see. That's what we all love about college football is it is extremely unpredictable. So, we'll see. You never know. But Ohio State, not really a whole lot to talk about. Like I said, the run game did a lot better of a job, but this is Rutgers. There, you weren't gonna get. This is like playing, a MAC team or a group of five team. If you lose to this group of five team at Notre Dame, you are going to be absolute. Like, you're not going to be considered a threat to win the national championship as a Power Four school. Now, Notre Dame did end up going to the national championship, but did anyone really think that they were going to beat Ohio State last year? No. So, if you lose as a Power Four team that it has playoff aspirations, if you lose to a group of five team, you're not going to be considered, as a top dog in the Power Four, which is why Notre Dame was ranked lower than they would have if they would have beaten Northern Illinois last year. But that's another time for another day. Anyways, so it's like having a good run game against Rutgers is like playing a Power 5 team. If you lose to that Power 5 team, you're going to get, it's going to be bad. But if you are, you dominate a group of 5 team by 70 points, let's say Ohio State and Toledo from a few years ago when Ohio State put up 70 against Toledo. No one's going to give Ohio State credit. No one gave Ohio State credit for that because it was Toledo. You know what I mean? So it's a no-win situation for the Power 4 team, which is why I think the group of 5 should separate and become a lower division from the Power 4. Power 4 should have, their own playoff, and the group of 5 should have their own playoff. That's just me, though. I don't see a point where you're putting in a group of 5 team in a playoff where the group of 5 team is not going to win a national championship and even probably not going to win a game ever. Like, they might get one, but they're definitely not getting 3. They're not beating 3 straight top 15 teams in a row. So I think it's pointless to have a group of 5 team into the playoff. I think they should branch off and form their own lower division type of league, conference, whatever you want to call it. And the Power 4 should be what it is right now, just without any of the group of 5 teams. Because it's just unfair. Because, you are, let's say you're the best group of 5. Let's say you're Boise State last year. Imagine if Boise State would have went to a group of 5 playoff. And people would say that, oh, I'm not going to watch that. People would watch it. These group of 5 teams, they have fans. And we get more playoff football. It's like expanding the playoff. You want more teams you want more games to matter at the end of November. Why wouldn't if you have a group of 5 playoff, that would make more group of 5 games matter. The MACtion type stuff, Mountain West, all those kind of conferences would have all these teams to have, like, it would matter more instead of just everyone's playing for one spot in the college football playoff like it is this year, with South Florida and I don't want to say Boise, South Florida, North Texas, those kind of teams. So it's, I think they should separate and just form another playoff. That's just me, though. I doubt it'll happen. I think there's probably just too much money for the group of 5. But I'm not saying that the group of 5 should not play the Power 4 conference. You can play them all you want. Yeah, that's fine. But I just think that it's kind of, it's unfair to the group of 5 because you have the best group of 5 team is going to be going to the playoff theoretically. Theoretically, the best group of 5 team goes to the playoff and then gets bounced in the first round. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But enough about that. It is officially hate week. The game is in less than a week. And in a week's time exactly, the game will be over. Either Ohio State or Michigan will be going to the Big Ten Championship, more than likely. And Oregon might have a say in that if Michigan does end up beating Ohio State next week. But if Ohio State does win, they are off to the Big Ten Championship, most likely against Indiana. And who does not want to watch Ohio State versus Indiana right now? Honestly. So that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow we'll be back for Browns versus Raiders. Shedeur Sanders is going to get the start. I don't see anything very changing drastically with the Browns offense, but we will see. And I don't know. We'll see. Defense is going to do what if the Browns kind of want anything in this game. And honestly, I don't even know if I want the Browns to win because I want the Browns to have a best draft pick possible, so the Browns have a better shot of getting Mendoza or Simpson. I don't really want Simpson anymore after last week, but Simpson or the Texas A&M quarterback that is escaping me, or any quarterback that the Browns really want. Now, if Shedeur Sanders does play like a franchise guy, then obviously we want to keep him. He's on a rookie contract. We already got him, so that would be nice. But is it realistic? Probably not. So it's whatever. Raiders and Browns in Vegas. That's tonight or tomorrow, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. But I will be watching for the rest of the day. We got Oregon playing at right about now. Michigan is playing. Is it Maryland? I think Maryland, Michigan is playing, and I think that is on the road, so that could be a trap game too for Michigan. Oregon and SC. What am I doing? Oregon and SC. Good grief. But those are the main games that I'll probably be watching today. The SEC just isn't very interesting. They play elementary schools for no reason at this time of year. Luckily, that is ending this year. They will be going to 9 conference games next year, which is great for the rest of college football because it is ridiculous that the SEC has gotten all the way up to 2025. And now we're just changing that. It was ridiculous then. It's ridiculous now. So that'll be good for the rest of college football, that the SEC will now be on an even playing field with basically the rest of the college football world, and football, that is. But that's all I have for today. I'll be back here for Browns and Raiders.